Hey guys, Joe Lewis here. Today I want to talk about solar panels for off-grid living or grid tie system, either or. When we first started here, you got polycrystalline and monocrystalline, and we went with 20 of one kind up top, and then we needed more, so we did 10 more of a different kind. They're the same brand, Rich Solar. I'll put all the links in the description of what I'm talking about today. For one, it's obviously all about tilt. 20 of them are at one angle and the other 10 are at another angle. As you know, in December, the sun's at one end of the sky, July's the other end, and then everything in between the two is going to catch the same. So January and November are the same, June and August are the same. So these are probably doing better now because since it's February, but in a few months, those will help make up for what these lost. So it's back and forth, and you can choose your own angle according to what state you're in, etc. We're in Texas. So as far as monocrystalline, polycrystalline, monocrystalline are supposedly better quality. That being said, our polycrystalline, in my opinion, is just as good. They're all 100 watt panels. They are Rich Solar, RICHSOLAR. The amperage is going to be a little different whether it's monocrystalline or polycrystalline. So I have them linked in sections because you can't run them connect one to the other and keep going for all 30. That's too much at one time. So I've got 5 linked in series, these 5, and then these 5, and then those 5, and then they all run together with the system, a positive and negative side. They all run to a bus bar in what we call our energy room. So it's a sunny day, it's in February. So like I said, these at the lower tilt are going to be pulling in more than the other ones. You mainly just want to get a good quality panel. We went with Rich Solar because it is a good quality. We've had them for 4 years now, and they have been, I've never had any trouble out of them. But all of these wires right here, you know, these 2 are from 5, and then these 2 are from 5, etc. So you got, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different sets of wires like this, all running to the same bus bar, and then they disconnect and go to the charge controller. So all the wires come in, coming up here behind the charge controller, and they're going to run all the positives to one bus bar and all of the negatives to the other bus bar. And then those 2 wires, this positive is going to run to the charge controller, and this negative is going to run to the charge controller. Now, I discussed charge controller, batteries, inverters in another video. This is strictly about solar panels. That being said, all 30, for instance, right now, it is a sunny day. Right now, we're pulling in 16.2 amps at 68.6 volts. And it is approximately 3 p.m. So we're basically almost through the end of the day. But since it's been a sunny day, we pulled in 7.3 kilowatts for the day. And then that'll reset on a daily basis. And on cloudy days, it's almost nothing. We're at float now, which means we're basically full, which is good. We like to be on float mode. And I will put links in the description, whether it's the bus bar, the wires, the ones that connect the solar panels to each other, because there's another contraption. Like I said, you hook, we have those 5 all hooked together. So these bottom 5 here, this one is hooked to this one is hooked to this one, etc. Those 5. And you probably could go more than 5. I just didn't want to get too much at one time, because you don't want to do that, because it will cause an overload. Because initially I just had one set, one neutral, negative, one positive on all 20 above me here, and that was too much. So we had to break it down, and then we still weren't getting enough wattage in, so we added 10 more, and we decided to do, like I said, a different angle. We would like to add 5 more and do, say, on the other side of the building for in the summertime, because, for instance, like I said, in July, the sun's way high in the sky, so these 10 aren't pulling in very much at all in July. December, they're pulling in the most, and then the 20 up top are kind of in the middle. Say March, maybe September, depending, somewhere in there, they're pulling in more than this. We also decided to not do them on the roof. For one, I didn't want to put holes in the metal roof, but also solar panels do best in 76-degree temperature. In Texas, it can get up to 110 sometimes. When it's 110, the panels are black, obviously. I mean, they're kind of warm to the touch right now. But having them not connected to a roof beside your house, in my opinion, is better, because they're going to be more efficient for you. You're not going to need as many panels. And you can utilize them in a way, for instance, the 20 up top, that's what, if it's raining, that's like the roof to get to our house. So we have it more of like a shade there. These here, being so low to the ground, it's called agrovoltaic. But when you have solar panels, the land underneath the solar panels are going to do way better, agriculturally speaking, than anything else. So I may have the same plant here and in the breezeway over there, and everything here always does better. That's a collard green I planted by seed last year. It's a little early, but the chocolate mint that's in this whole bed always does better. Anything is going to do better underneath solar panels, because it still gets sun, but it's partial shade. But by having them off your house, you have that airflow, and even when it's 110, they still have an availability for air to get and circulate and stay cool. So you can also buy a structure or what's it called, a frame, to put your solar panels on and change the tilt and angle if you want to. That being said, that almost costs more than what you're going to pay for your solar panels. So we opted to just do 4x4s and 2x4s, get the tilt that we thought we wanted, and then brace them to that and have them permanent. So without using and buying the metal brackets that the solar panels will connect to, by just doing 2x4s and 4x4s, you're saving enough money to buy more solar panels. So if we would have put these 20 on metal brackets, we would have spent a lot more doing just 20 on metal brackets than we did for all 30 panels. And these 30 panels, these 20 panels, or 10 panels that we added to the 20, are simply on a 2x6 running down with 2 2x6s running across. And we could have changed that tilt more either direction if we had chose. And like I said, eventually we will add more at a different angle. But by having them all permanently at the angle they're at, you don't have to deal with switching that. I think having less metal is, I don't know if it's necessarily safer. I feel like it's more structurally sound. What am I leaving out? The closer your charge controller and batteries are to your solar panels is obviously a factor. You don't want to have solar panels and have them run a whole mile, because the further they go, the more electricity you're going to use along the way. So this is somewhat close. I simply used 1-inch PVC pipe to get and hold these PVC pipe, have the wire running through them from the panels to keep them from being everywhere, basically, to get them there. The wraparound thing I could have prevented by having a bigger, I think that's a 1/2 inch. Yeah, that's a 1/2 inch PVC. So if I would have went bigger with my PVC, I could have stuffed all of those wires down. Like I said, though, initially we thought you just needed one positive and one negative. But you do want to break that up. If you don't break that up, the ones that are in line together are all going to function only as good as the one that's doing the worst. So by having the 5 lower connected, if we had 2 or 3 of these connected with ones at a different angle, they're only going to do as good as the ones at the worst angle. So now, if the 5 up here are not producing as much, it's not going to affect the wattage of the bottom 5. So you're gaining more energy, basically, the more you do break them up. As far as polycrystalline or monocrystalline panels, monocrystalline are going to be a better quality. Supposedly they do last longer. Our energy room is kind of an everything room. But by having them all connected at this bus bar right here, like I said, and then going into your charge controller by one single wire, this wire doesn't know what this wire is putting in. It's just all going to this bar, and it's all going in here. Either way, it doesn't matter if this is here or that's here. You just got to get them all on this bar. These are 30 foot. I believe they do make them shorter. And if you can do shorter, that's, like I said, that is better, because the further you go with the energy, the more you're going to lose. I wouldn't think you would want to go more than 30 to your charge controller. If you had enough panels, you could. But you want to get your charge controller as close to your solar panels, or your whole energy system, really, to your solar panels as you want. I feel like that's kind of a common sense thing. But there's a lot of things that I did not know when we started doing this. And I don't know, some people may not know that. I guess that's about it for solar panels. Like I said, we went with Rich Solar products. I did product reviews to see which was the best suited quality-wise, and Rich Solar panels had really good reviews. I believe when we bought them, they were like $79.99 for a 100-watt panel, and they may be even cheaper now. This is a system that 20 or 30 years ago financially was not feasible. But nowadays, if you're building a house, it's actually more financially smart to have your own energy, because all of this stuff has went down significantly, and it keeps going down. Because once you put it in, you don't have any electricity bill. If the electricity goes out, you don't have to worry about that. Now, if you do a grid tie system, you will have to worry about your electricity going out if the electricity goes out, which is why we don't have that. I did want an off-grid only system, but we pretty much have everything we need electricity wise. Obviously we have a fridge and a freezer. We have an electric hot water heater. It's only a 19-gallon tank. We could have went bigger. We did not for space reasons, but we do charge the hot water heater during the day, then turn it off. I've got a switch connected to it where I just turn it off and turn it on when needed. We have things like microwave, TV. We use the vacuum cleaner. I mean, we have pretty much every amenity that you would have if you were on grid. We are more conscious about using it because we don't want to use up all of our energy in our batteries, because we don't want, to drain it. If we drain it right now during the day, we may go out overnight for a couple of hours, which is fine if that happens, but it's better obviously to not go offline at all. But like I said, the bus bars were something that I did not expect that we needed. I thought we could just hook them all up together, run them into the charge controller, and that would be fine. And it's not okay. You can't just run an indefinite amount of solar panels together and have them run to a charge controller, because it will blow something up. So by having your panels divided into 4, 5, 6, I think you could probably even go 7 if you wanted to, you're getting the optimum out of each range. So all those panels don't act as one. So you can have certain panels, if you wanted to lay them literally flat to the sky and make this more like an actual flat roof, and then have some that are completely tilted way down further than these, you could, and they're not going to affect each other. So I think I covered everything about solar panels on that one. And I will put a link in the description on everything I talked about today. If you do have any questions, put them in the comments. I will be happy to answer. Possibly even make a whole nother video on that topic. I do plan to make more videos about the charge controller, the batteries, the advantages to one battery over the other battery, inverter, whether you're on a 12-volt system, 48-volt system, etc. But I just wanted to break it down and just talk about each component individually to keep it more basic. So we are off grid. We've been off grid for, I think we put the first 20 in 5 years ago, and then we added 2. But like I said, everything that we haven't had many problems. If it's a cloudy day all day, we do turn on the generator temporarily to bump everything up. We don't necessarily have to, but if you like to use hot water on cloudy days, it's not that long of a generator run. It's not a lot of gas. And I'll talk about the generator too in another video. But yeah, so that's the solar panel system. And like I said, we went with Rich Solar. You don't have to go with Rich Solar. This is not a paid promotional video. I just looked up, when we were buying solar panels, the best quality for the money, and Rich Solar happened to be one of the best ones, in my opinion, for the money. These monocrystalline panels that we have at a lower tilt, for instance, they're all 100 watts. But these 100 watts are 18.6 volts with a 5.3 amp. I literally zip tied them. Just use zip ties just for security reasons. Because like I said, if you put them on 2x4s and just screw the tops and bottoms into the 2x4 and then use zip ties to connect the screw holes that would go into a metal bracket, as far as being structurally sound, I feel like this is more structurally sound anyways. We do have a lot of wind here. Never had issues with the solar panel blowing off or anything like that. I did use T25 4-inch screws, maybe a little overkill, but I did not want to worry about them flying off. So the structural speaking of it is good, and like I said, you can save a lot of money by just doing 2x4s, 4x4s, and 2x6s, as opposed to spending the money that you would spend on all those metal brackets, because like I said, they are very expensive, and you can just get more for your money. You can get more panels, you can get more batteries. Batteries is something you can never have too many of. They don't like cold weather, so the colder it is, those batteries don't last as long. So if you can have more, it's better to have more. So I will make more videos about the other components of our solar grid, off-grid solar system later, but that's strictly about solar panels. So anyways, you guys have a good day and take care. See y'all later. Bye.